Welcome to my basement, everybody. We have an incredible episode for you today. We are celebrating the release of Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. I absolutely adored the game, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. Please watch my review because you'll see a very happy man talking about a game he loves. I've got the game director, Dan Neal, with me, and the art director, Josh Nadelberg. This is an incredible game. I've been raving about this thing, and I know a lot of other people have. Dan, how are you feeling? The game is out there. People are playing it. And the reviews are great. How's it going for you?
We couldn't be happier. You know, we've been working on this game for a couple of years, and when you work in a game, you're kind of working in the dark, you're working quietly, and then suddenly it goes super loud and it goes super big, and we couldn't be more pumped to see all the love online.
Awesome. Josh, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, echoing what Dan said, we're in our little bubble while we're working on it, and
Right.
our passion's getting thrown in there, and we're excited about it, and we imagine people will be, but seeing them actually respond and so much positivity in the community, it's humbling. It's great.
That's awesome. Dan, you guys started with the idea of this being a carry-through of the work that Naughty Dog did with Crash 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Was that a freeing thing that you had some building blocks to start with, or does that add a tremendous amount of pressure to kind of live up to, what people remember and love about the originals?
You know, I think no matter what we've done, there's always going to be a lot of pressure if you're making a new Crash Bandicoot game.
Yeah.
But, we know that the original 3 games from Naughty Dog have got a special place in the hearts of the Crash fans, us too. And that felt like the right place to kick off. Folks have been waiting. It's been over 10 years since the last mainline Crash game, and it's been over 20 since those original 3 games. Folks have been waiting a long time, us included.
Yeah. Were you guys and was Activision, kind of blown away by the reaction to the trilogy remake and how successful it was, or was that kind of an expected thing? Josh?
Well, I can't speak for Activision as a whole, but I think we were really overwhelmingly excited to see that Crash Bandicoot had that much enthusiasm and that the fans wanted more Crash. So, yeah, absolutely. I think we loved seeing that, and the fly is attacking.
Colin Obama, get it.
We're at the debate here.
A little debate action. I love it. Dan, what makes a good Crash Bandicoot game? Now that you've lived with this character for a number of years, what makes a good game in this universe?
So I guess where we started was we went back to those games and we broke down what we felt made them special. And for us, there was... So what's unique about the gameplay in Crash is the tight, precise execution that's being asked of players. It's not about exploration. It's about being handed a colorful, fun set of tools, the players, and then being asked to execute difficult challenges. It's kind of it's almost like a Guitar Hero almost, where you're given a very precise set of gameplay asks, and then the player has to execute. So that was really our launch-off point from the gameplay side. Probably Josh could speak more on the artistic side.
Yeah, what do you think? Obviously this is a character rooted in cartoon animation history. I think that's what Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin were kind of going for when they crafted this character so many years ago. Talk about how we as players have responded to this character and his world, and what that meant for you to kind of pick up on it and to embellish it and make us fall in love with him again with Crash 4.
Yeah, well, we knew that we wanted to kind of lean into that cartoony aesthetic. And the guys at VV, the team at VV, they did such an amazing job with the Insane Trilogy, kind of reimagining those original games. And we wanted to make sure that people saw this game, knew it was a new game. This isn't a remaster. This is a brand new, from scratch Crash experience. So giving it a fresh coat of paint felt like a good opportunity for us to inject a little bit more of that extreme cartoon characterization. So the characters in Crash 4, It's About Time, the animation and the expressivity and the extremes are just pushed as far as we could. There's squatch and stretch and everything. And there's coyote time where the character runs off of the edge of something and hangs out in space before they fall, and smear frames and all kinds of great classic 2D hand-drawn cartoon aesthetic touches that we added.
So you guys were looking at the classic Crash, but also some old animated classics as well. Was that part of the development? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Looking at old cartoons, knowing what influenced the original game is great because you can go back and study that as well. So all the history is there.
Awesome. Dan, did you guys have any connection with, any of the old vets that worked on Crash? Did you reach out to developers or people that have been able to work with Crash over the years?
Yeah, there's a couple of folks that were within the Activision family who we reached out to right at the start to get their take on the way that we were thinking about the franchise, the way that we were thinking about the characters, the way that we were thinking about the gameplay, make sure that we were on point. Yeah.
That's awesome. Was there a day when you kind of felt like you nailed it? Or did you instinctually know the direction and you could feel that sort of, this sort of fun kind of stacking on itself and it was working right from the beginning?
I don't know that there's ever a day when you know you've nailed it. It's just
Might have been left there.
that's the we did it. It's just
you guys did it. You shipped it. Everybody loves it. So
the team
we could say you did it.
Yeah, the team killed it. It's a ramp right from the very start. It's a ramp of just getting the levels blocked out, breaking down the gameplay, building the core mechanics. When you're making a game, you're really close to it, and it can be hard when you're a developer to really see what you're making, to get the outside perspective. All you got to do is you just trust your instincts. You listen to what people say. You take it, the input that we took along the way. You take it seriously, and you adjust and adjust and adjust and keep iterating on the game.
Well, that's awesome. I reached out to folks on Twitter and asked, I told them that I was talking with you guys today, and I got a few questions. One of them's from Countryboy9 saying, how do they feel about making grown men cry with their highly challenging game?
We did it!
Dan?
We did it! We did do it!
Was that one of the feature, the bullet points, your pillars that you had to hit there?
Don't hit that core pillar of the DNA, which is that this game has difficulty embedded within what it is. It's important to Crash that it is challenging, and Crash is about being given a mountain to climb as a gamer, and then but making sure that every challenge is fair. That was something that we were really conscious of. That there's no just gotcha deaths. It's like if the player, and this is true for every game, if the player makes a mistake, they have to know it's their mistake. It's not the game's fault. You have to know, and so you want to do it again. So we were really conscious of that when we were thinking about the difficulty of the game.
So the swears are part of the organic, getting lost in the experience, but you're not swearing at the game. You're swearing kind of at your inability to get that timing, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah. And so when you focus test something like this and you, have it tested internally, I guess this is a question for you, Dan. I mean, how do you do that? How do you keep people sane? And, you're probably moving platforms by millimeters and tweaking, the dials and everything. How do you keep everybody kind of, not freaking out and not running for the hills?
Well, one thing is that as a developers, you just get so good at the levels that you can't judge it anymore. The level designers internally, we're just all breezing through it. Once you get because once you get used to the levels and you learn the skills of moving around as Crash, and you learn how to play as the new characters or the new platforming tricks that we added, it doesn't become a challenge so much anymore. So you're right that you have to reach out to people who are fresh to the game, and then you measure how they perform and you talk to them about how they felt, and then you rev the game again and you go again.
Do you measure by how red in the face they get when they play? Like how do you gauge that?
You have analytics as well, so you're looking at heat maps of where people died. You're looking.
Are you kidding?
Of course.
That's awesome. Yeah, wow.
You have to we have to make sure that the game's properly ramped, that the game starts really accessible, and by the end there's a genuine challenge, because not only does the game get harder, but players' skill goes up as they move through the campaign. So getting that balance right is something that's really fine-tuned.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like this is a game, and I said this in my review, that is really kind of steering you to play these levels again. And Josh, was that, part of your sort of course as the art director was to kind of, work with the designers to put lots of little details and secrets so that people will see lots of new things every time they replay?
Absolutely. Yeah, we wanted the world to feel really rich and full and focused on this idea of environmental storytelling, so that as you're going through these worlds, even if it's not explicit in the narrative of the game, there's kind of a story in each level. So for example, like in the Snow Way Out level, there are all these zombie fishermen. And like, we could have just made a level in the snow with ice mechanics, but instead we kind of created this headcanon of our own as to like why this is all happening. And I hope fans can kind of engage in that themselves and come up with their own stories, because I think that's really awesome. Immersive. Yeah. And then on top of that, we wanted some of the replayability to be reinforced by the game itself. So we have the inverted mode, which was co-developed by our friends over at Beanox, which allows you to replay all of the levels of the game in a mirror mode with these amazing visual post-processing filters to give them these incredible new looks. So it's a really super way to re-experience the game.
Absolutely gorgeous. I had comments on my review talking about, the next gen kind of fidelity of how this game already looks. And of course, you guys are dealing with these dimensional rifts, and you're adding logic to why these levels are themed, which is something that I picked up on. When was that a decision for you guys? I guess, Dan, when did you guys decide that was going to be how you were going to go from stage to stage?
Right at the start, right at the very start. That was when we were looking at the original trilogy and how we wanted to create a story that keyed off from the events of Crash 3 Warped.
Yeah.
That's where we led to thinking about time and thinking about dimensional travel and rifts and parallel universes as our core binding creative pillar for the new game. And from that came, like you said, the rifts and thinking about the worlds, but also other aspects. We also took that notion of time and space and created our 4 new quantum masks that each have a different power that associates with that same sense of time and space.
That's awesome. When you saw the trailer for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, did you guys go, "Hey, that looks a bit familiar," or like, "What are they doing?" Any kind of
what game? What are you talking about?
Not a problem. Not a problem.
There's a lot of space and time for game developers to work with.
Absolutely.
Is what you say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. Talk to me a little bit about Toys for Bob. I've always thought that this is a very unique and special company, and obviously Skylanders is a huge part of the history. But every time I mention Toys for Bob, I hear Star Control. It just bubbles up. But
right,
there was a Madagascar game that I reviewed back in the day, and it just blew my mind. What kind of a company is Toys for Bob, and how long have you guys both been working there? We'll start with you, Josh.
I've been at Toys for Bob since the inception of the Spyro Reignited project. So these past 2 projects, and man, I honestly, I've been in the game industry for 20 plus years now, and the team, the culture, the creativity, it's a really special place to work. It's family friendly. We have dogs running around the studio when we're allowed to be in the studio.
Yeah.
In pre-COVID times. It's a wonderful place. I love my team.
That's awesome. And Dan, how long have you been working there?
I joined Toys for Bob in 2011, just before the first Skylanders game was released. I came over from the UK. You can probably tell that I'm not a Californian native. I came over, almost 10 years ago, and like unbelievable. Echoing what Josh said, the people at Toys for Bob, the culture, super creative, super welcoming, super inclusive, childlike, but childlike with a maturity. Like, if you know what I mean. It was like a playfulness.
Yeah, it's evident in the games that come out of the studio. They're genre-based games that sort of, you would sort of pigeonhole them as being a part of something you're familiar with. But then there's always, in every Toys for Bob experience, and Skylanders is a huge part of that, there is this, really clever, mature surprise.
Right.
and that engagement that hooks you in, and that's not an accident. That's something that you have to cultivate and kind of and I see that on from the outside. So I'm always curious about the internal workings and the structure. And you guys were there through Dan, you were there through the Skylanders madness, and did the company change a ton through that era, or was it kind of the company you signed up to work at?
It didn't change much. It's the same. Just like, it's interesting because with a game, if you know the people behind the game, it makes sense to what you see on screen, and I felt that's been true throughout my career as well. And the sort of level of wackiness that you see in the Toys for Bob games, and the playfulness and the cartooniness, that's kind of how it feels to work here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of incredible games from Activision with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and now Crash 4 that harken back to the 90s and a different time for how games get made. There's not really a games as service kind of application or any microtransaction stuff. It's like all of the content is packaged within the material. And has that been a discussion across the studios? Because it feels like with Vicarious Vision and Beanox and you guys, there's a move forward by looking backward a little bit that's happening right now. And I'm wondering if that's a cultural thing that's going on within Activision.
I don't know if it's a cultural thing as much as these are awesome games that we're lucky enough to get the opportunity to work on. And like gamers, we also have super fond memories of them. So we're just happy to be able to bring these franchises back, both in terms of remasters like the games you outlined, but also with a brand new game like Crash 4.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Josh, how about yourself? Are you feeling like I don't know, can we expect more kind of things that harken back to a different era from you guys and from the studios at Activision?
Well, we're really here to talk about Crash 4.
I know, yes.
And yeah, I'm sure we'll
gotcha.
Not going to get us on that one.
No.
Okay, I got you. You have a fan in me. I like this direction. I'm digging this. I love Tony Hawk, and I love what you guys did with Crash 4. Okay, awesome. We have a couple of other questions here. Paul Gale says, how cool would it be on a scale of 1 to 10 if we would see Crash in Super Smash Brothers? Dan, how cool would that be?
It sounds like for him it's a 10, right?
Josh, how cool do you think that would be out of 10?
I know a lot of people would love to see that.
Very good. Very good. This is a good one from Sherpy. This is obviously a game that's just released on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and the new machines are coming. Are there going to be any upgrades in terms of backwards compatibility on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series? Sorry, I'm forcing talking about more development on this game on you guys, but
yeah,
I'm curious.
That's going to be another one where we have to just let that question slide right by us and say that today we're talking about the release on PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One series of consoles.
Gotcha. And of course, everybody's wondering if this is, as I was streaming it and comments in my review, everybody's asking if this is going to be a Switch game. Is that anything that you can let us know about?
You're correct that everyone's asking that question.
I got a job to do, gentlemen. I got to ask the questions. I got to do it.
It's your job to ask the question. It's our job to do what we're doing.
Now, the game is out there, and obviously the critics are raving about it, like myself, but I'm wondering if you've heard from people, like from fans, like have you gotten some cool art across Twitter, or I know that you guys aren't all collected in an office right now, so it's probably like, people can't send you fan mail in like the old days, but have you been hearing from folks? And if you have, tell me something that really kind of resonated for you. We'll start with you, Dan.
Do you know what? I'm going to throw to Josh, because for the art that I see on Twitter is amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah. Both the Spyro and the Crash community have just so many artist supporters out there who are doing incredible work. I mean, it blows me away. We have like a weekly update where we send out some of our favorites to the whole studio on our Slack, and yeah, we can't get enough of it, honestly. But I think we get occasional forwards or messages from the community, and there was one message I remember about a player who just really, it brought them back to their childhood playing this game with their dad, playing the original games with their dad and being able to have a new game to play with their kids. It's stuff like that that just like touches the heart and makes you really grateful for the opportunity to work on games that can have an impact on people.
You know, Josh, we get the same on Skylanders, with people saying that like Skylanders was a way for kids who were, you know, because obviously Skylanders was aged at younger audience, for kids to connect with their parents and to find like a shared creative imaginary world to jump into. Like Josh said, we're kind of getting the opposite this time, where parents are saying, hey, this Crash 4 game is a great place for me to spend some time with my kid and connect. It's pretty heartwarming.
That is awesome.
Especially in these times, COVID times, it's nice to have a game that's just fun, colorful, bright, vibrant, and you know, I think we need that right now.
Yeah, is that a philosophy that you know we can apply to Toys for Bob? Is that, it feels like that seems, you know, kind of synonymous with the games that Toys for Bob creates.
I think that's fair, and it comes back to what we were talking about earlier on with the childlike nature of the folks at the studio. Kids at heart.
So obviously this is a game that's taken a couple of years to craft, and this has been the strangest year for everybody. How was it for you guys, and did release dates slip or milestones slip? Were you guys able to kind of shift into this new mode and just get it all done?
Amazingly, we were, yeah. We had incredible support from Activision and our IT department and Activision IT, and I mean, we got ourselves set up remotely in like a weekend. And amazingly, the team adapted to that super well, and I think we've been as effective as you could imagine.
Yeah, totally.
That's
absolutely
awesome.
Yeah.
This is a game that, you know, when you start talking about all the stuff in it, it almost kind of comes off like a late night infomercial. And there's this thing, and there's that thing, and we got this thing, you know, which is, it's incredible. Are there things that you haven't revealed and the world is still discovering, or, you know, and has there been something that has bubbled up, maybe even recently in the last couple of weeks, where, they found that, or, and is there a lot more that people are going to be digging for a long time? There's more. Like Josh alluded to, the little secrets and the little franchise lore nods that we sprinkled and hid throughout the game, and there's things that I've not seen anybody talking about yet. So I imagine, I imagine there'll be things to be found for months to come. That's fantastic. Josh, do you have a favorite ingredient? Might be, you know, an art element or a design concept, or you know, a specific kind of area in the game that just really sings for you?
You know, I thought that the quantum masks are such a perfect embodiment of like all parts of game development coming together. They add this incredible new layer to classic Crash gameplay with the gravity flip, the phase shifting, the time slowing, and the quantum spin mechanic. It just shows how design ideas can inspire art, and art can then come back and inspire design to maybe rethink some of their assumptions. So the whole creative process involving that layer to the game was just super collaborative and really fun. Yeah, that was
awesome. Dan, how about yourself?
I think my favorite add that we made to the franchise, probably the new playable characters. Got our big boy Dingo Dial, that's a favorite of mine, and Cortex as well. And then Tawna, you know, we took a fresh approach to bring Tawna, who was a kind of a side character from the earlier Crash games. We brought her back more strongly, and just a tremendous amount of thought and effort from especially Josh's team went into thinking about how we could present her from an alt universe and make her feel more contemporary. So super proud of Tawna, and just amazing to see the positive reaction to all three of the new heroes as well.
That's awesome. Now, this is a challenging game. That's well established. Every review is going to say that. Everybody that talks to somebody about this game is going to say that. Do you have any tips, any hints for players that might be getting super challenged? Dan?
I have one. Play on modern mode. Play on modern mode. So in case anyone doesn't know, so there's two ways that you can play the game: retro mode and modern mode. And with modern mode, we don't have limited lives. You can always keep playing from the last checkpoint that you reached. Something that we felt was really important. When we talked about difficulty, it's important that we provide players with ways to keep playing and keep trying at the challenges and not knock them back to the start of the level in the ways the old Crash games did. But at the same time, it was important to us to keep the old system in there as well. So we call that retro mode. So that's my tip. Play modern mode.
Josh, what about yourself?
The only way to play modern mode. I think enjoy the game for what it is. If you're a completionist, you're going to be really challenged. But you can also just play the game and not get hung up on collecting every single thing.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's the only way I can do it.
Which, I mean, that's the beautiful thing, is that you can be a completionist and you can go hardcore and you can make YouTube videos about how to find every damn thing, or you can just breathe and enjoy it all, right?
Exactly. That was important to us, was that where there was going to be areas of high difficulty, like the flashback levels, we created these flashbacks to the 90s where we had like a VHS filter. Yeah, they're really hard. Of course, they wanted to provide the challenge for the fans who wanted that, but they're side content. They're not down the main path. So it's really important to us that if you just want to go through, see all the worlds, see all the story, that you can do that.
Awesome. Okay, this is a bit of an esoteric question. You guys have picked up the reins on Crash after a bit of I think it's been about 10 years since we got an original Crash game, and you guys have crafted us one now. What would you want to pass on to a developer that might take the reins on this franchise in 10 years or 20 years? What can you pass on, and they can search this video down the road? A bit of wisdom about, handling Crash properly. Dan?
That's a difficult question. Play the game, I think. I think everything that we learned, everything that we felt about how we should present Crash, we put on screen. I don't think there's no secrets behind what's on screen. It's all there.
Josh?
Yeah, I'd say, following up on what Dan said, it's like Crash is a great character, but the gameplay is what makes those games special. So I think one of the things that we really focused on was not just taking the IP and throwing it in a sandbox. That wouldn't have worked.
Let me add to that, Josh, as well, that what made Crash games special in the 90s was a very distinctive flavor of gameplay, and that's what millions and millions of people really loved. And so it was really important to us to maintain that, and just not to say Crash is open world or something. That's not what makes those games awesome. So it was really clear to us that we had to first figure out what it was about those original games that people loved, and then be super respectful to those gameplay principles, while also modernizing, adding new features that all fit within that same gameplay framework.
And also just raising the level of theater and intensity. We have all these wonderful chase sequences in the game, and that's a classic Crash thing that you don't see in other games, where Crash is running towards the camera, and originally it was a boulder chasing him, and instead of a boulder, we have this incredible spirit monster that's like cruising through the cavern and ripping gates apart and swooping underneath and coming back up, and it just this layer of theater and intensity that we can add with what video game consoles can do these days. It takes the same gameplay but just amps it, and it's
awesome.
Super fun.
Well, you guys did it, and congratulations again. Crash 4, It's About Time, is available now for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Dan Neal and Josh Nadelberg, thank you so much for joining me today on Vic's Basement. Give it up for these guys. Thank you all for watching. We will see you soon, and until then, play forever.